let's work on this first figure right here, right? First of all, we're gonna create a separate div that we call it a section, and we'll give it a unique ID, Tetris Tetrominoes. Okay. So this is the section that's gonna contain all our Tetris blocks. And then we're gonna create a div specifically for our first block, and we'll call it figure 1. Right. So in our figure 1, we're gonna have 4 blocks. And with classes, like I said before, we can just reuse them. So for each block, we'll use a class Tetris block. And let me just copy paste that. So we have figure 1, and it's gonna have 4 blocks. If we reload this browser, we don't see anything yet, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see. So we need to start styling. First of all, for Tetris main screen, let's create a background. And I think I'm gonna use silver background or gray background actually. So that's in hex. And the section is empty, so what we need to do is give it a width. For responsive web design, meaning you want the page look good in mobile, on the laptop, iPad, and all of that, you will never use fixed pixels for the width. You want to use percentages, like this, for example. But for our blocks, we are gonna create a fixed width, just because when someone resizes it, we don't want it to change size. We want it to be the same. All right. But back to creating our main background. So the width will be about 20%, and there's a tag called min width, and we're gonna set it to 300 pixels. No matter what size is the browser screen window, this background over here should never be less than 300 pixels. But if you resize it and make it bigger, it will continue resizing to 20%. So let's also set a height for this. We'll make it 500 pixels. Oh, see, we got something going here. So minimum width is always going to be 300, no matter how much we resize it. Let's see. If we make it full screen, it does resize since we gave it 20% width. Okay, now to center things, you always want to give margin auto. And also we can, if you have any text ever, you can text line the center. As you can see, that works. So the next thing we're gonna work on is, let's first define what Tetris block is. So that's Tetris block class. And we'll give it a border for each block, 2 pixels, and we'll make it solid and black. Height of our blocks, let's say 44 pixels, and width, we'll always make it 100%. Oh, that doesn't look that pretty. That's okay. We'll fix that very soon. This will define each block, right? To make them look prettier, just like here, we need to style figure 1 right here, that ID. Remember, to style IDs we use hashtag, and to style classes we use a dot. So let's create a border for our main figure. So if we resize our page right now, as you can see, the figure 1 resizes as well, and we don't want that because we want the blocks to be 1 by 1 and a certain size. So what we're gonna do is give it a min width 240 pixels and a max width of 22 pixels. Oops, and a max width of 248 as well. So no matter what the browser size is, the blocks are never gonna change the size. They're always gonna be 248 pixels. And there's a reason why we're doing that. Let me explain. So to affect how each block looks in this particular div tag, we can access them by doing #figure1 dot Tetris block. So what that will do is everything that we style here will only affect Tetris block inside the figure1, so it will affect all 4 of them. So we're gonna give the color to each block in our figure1, and the color is gonna be hex code 44FFFF, which is kind of teal color. And to have them line up next to each other, we need to use display-inline block. However, they're not lining up because they're too big. So we'll also tell each block to be width 25% because there's 4 blocks, so 4 of them will take up 100% of space. Boom. However, as you can see, there's spaces between them, and one of them is down here. So inline block does create spaces between elements, but one way to get rid of those spaces is by using font size 0. And that will get rid of the spaces. Back in the day, to do the same type of behavior, people used to use floats and clear. That's the old way of creating creative boxes and fill the browser so the elements wrap next to each other nicely. But now you can just use display-inline block.